kind of next step that we really want to get to with these interactive educational publications. So some of this new design and layout stuff, media query. This is kind of a fake version. I'll show some real versions in a bit. So again, the concept is that you might want to define a fairly rich layout for a larger screen and then have that automatically, just sort of magically reformat when you put that same content into a small screen. And in addition to just changing the layout, you can really change everything about it. So in the large image, I have kind of like larger zoomed out pictures, and when we put that on a small screen, we want them to look compelling, so they become crops of the original image, not just those same images shrunk so small that you can't see them. And like Bill said, there are a lot of things you can sort of toggle on to make these decisions. One of them that like web designers now obsess about is pixel density, because if you have an iPhone 4, it has an incredible number of, almost print number of pixels per inch, so you can get these very, very rich images. If you put the same images from like your crappy old iPhone 3, they don't look as good on the 4. So this is an actual real example. So if you are interested in this topic, you should be looking at the larger web community, because they're already actively using this part of CSS. It's pretty mature in most of the modern web browsers, so you can do this right now. The general term for the whole concept is responsive web design, and so I'm hoping that responsive ebook design will become, a thing. But it's this general concept that you can take the image layouts and change them, and specifically, you want lots of wide margins on a big screen, you want smaller margins on a small screen, and again, like whether you want to lay out images horizontally or vertically. We do have support in epub3 for the multi-column module in CSS3. I actually have some doubts about how well this is going to work in practice, because both iBooks and a few other e-readers, including mine, implement pagination using this module itself. So if you try to put a multi-column layout inside a multi-column based e-reader, just terrible things happen. But I think that some will end up doing this correctly, and obviously a lot of publishers are excited about that. You can get pretty sophisticated with how you want the columns to flow. If you want to get really sophisticated, there's the CSS regions sort of proposal that Adobe just put out recently. It's not in epub3, it's not even in CSS yet, but they have a very strong interest in true magazine level layout, where content, it's almost a little bit like the old tech model, where content flows into boxes and flows around objects, and they can be circular instead of square. We're just getting excited about having columns right now, so we'll get to circles later. So we do have slightly better control over the kind of text layout stuff that people really care about, and some of this you can experiment with now, because again, it's in the web browsers. iBooks is essentially a web browser with that hideous frame around it, so you can do a lot of the things that are in epub3 today in iBooks. Some of those, some of the modules that are a little bit uncertain, we prefixed with EPUB instead of the other browser prefixes. This doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry about it. But what's sort of cool is that since we have Apple involved in epub3, some of the things that we talk about on the spec are sort of trickling their way into the browsers really quickly. So just a few weeks ago, someone who worked at Apple committed some support for EPUB into WebKit, and WebKit is the sort of mother source of most of the modern web browsers, especially mobile web browsers today. So the first step for getting anything really effectively into the ebook marketplace is to get it into WebKit, so we start to see that stuff already. We heard about fonts. This was SVG. You guys know more about math than I do. Also, unlike how cool it is to have Apple involved, there is now MathML in the most bleeding edge version of WebKit. So this is not like a browser that normal humans would use, but it is the browser that eventually becomes Safari or mobile Safari or Google Chrome. So I'm a normal human, so I got that version of WebKit, and I found a math book that actually had MathML in it, and so I have some examples of it, and I don't know whether it looks good for math or not, but it looked okay to me. And some of the